Our guest this morning is Scott Sedam, president of True North Development, a consulting and training firm that works with builders to improve products, process, and profits. Welcome, Scott.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Today, Scott is going to tell us three critical factors virtually every builder can improve upon to not just survive, but thrive in the current building environment: schedule, variance, and supplier trade relationships. You've been emphasizing schedule for as long as I've known you. Why is it so critical now?
Well, it's kind of you to not say I'm like a broken record, but I feel that way, and it's legitimate. It's always been critical, and it's how I learned more than 30 years ago that schedule is job one. And if you ask any of the guys at True North, and we'll tell you, as goes the schedule, so goes the builder. The best builders are the best schedulers, the best schedulers are the best builders. It is possible to make some money, especially good times, and not be that great at scheduling. People do that, and they get fooled into thinking, well, that's okay, or they accept a less than optimum schedule. But schedule impacts everybody in a company, every supplier, every trade, even the people who inspect your homes, anybody involved with you. If the schedule is well managed, everything about their life goes better. Brain damage eliminated. They can get in, they can get out, get things done. When you have schedules with people on top of each other and jumping around and always having to change things and adjust, it just takes more time. It takes more cost, more expense, more trips to the building site. Nothing goes as well. And any finance person will tell you, if you can learn to, for example, just get 4 turns instead of get 4 turns instead of the 2 or 3 turns that most builders are getting on their money today, it changes your bottom line dramatically. We actually have clients, and I'm not going to tell you they learned it all from us, but clients who do not just 4 turns, but 5, and a few that do 6 turns. And I'll tell you what, they can take a lower margin and make way more money than the guy or the builder who's doing 2 or 3 turns.
I remember that you wrote a very popular series about variance for PB a couple of years ago. What are the implications of excess variance in this market?
Yeah, one of the covers was, the nightmare called Variance, and I love the artwork where they had this octopus crawling out from under a bed going after him. Variance is something, I've been on the schedule thing for over 30 years, but variance has become kind of a national illness, a national problem more and more the last few years as we came out of the last downturn. We were more disciplined before that downturn, the one 10 years ago, but we'd do anything for anybody to sell a house. And it's really hard to knock that back out of your system. And by the way, you can be a builder that offers all sorts of options, variations. You can, if you have the discipline to maintain and control it. So what's happened is the variances have gotten out of control. And my definitions of variance, the purest definition, is absolutely anything that comes up after you start that house. Right. That should be called variance, because the smart way to do it, I don't care if you're doing a big custom home or production homes, is you get every decision made before you start the house. If you do that, everything about life will go better. And your customers actually will be happier if you know how to manage them. And variance increases the time, increases the cost. You got another thing, it kills the schedule. It makes the suppliers and trades extremely frustrated. And by the way, builders tend to only pay out 10 to maybe at the most 20% of VPO, variance purchase orders, exception purchase orders that they get. They only pay out that much from. So the trades get used to just eating it and just not sending it on. A lot of builders don't realize they're doing that. So on the whole, about 10% of what should be paid for variance ever gets paid, but that is an enabler. That enables builders to have out of sight, out of mind. If suppliers and trades really start sending in those VPOs for everything they do, it wakes people up. So we help builders that really understand what the true variances are, what the costs are for everyone, and understand that when you have variance, everyone loses. Not just the supplier and trade, but the builder loses, and ultimately the customer loses too. So it's one of the biggest profit robbers in the industry that we see today.
And I think you offer people if you go to PB, you offer people that series that they can send in for that.
We have, if you just send,
yeah.
truend.com.
Yeah.
We have links to the PB articles, a series of 3 or 4 on schedule, a series of 4 on variance.
It's
And
a
so
great one.
together, and it takes you back to PB, and then you can download those.
Super. Last question. Building highly productive supplier trade relationships has been another long-time theme of yours. What do builders need to do today to stand out amongst their competitors in this environment?
You know, I learned this stuff from guys like Mike Rhodes in Chicago and Gary Grant in Minneapolis, literally more than 30 years ago. And it's rare that I meet a builder today that's got it figured out as well as those guys did then. They're absolutely exceptions. We've seen some National Housing Quality Award winners that really have it nailed.
Yeah.
But you just go back to the old term. It might seem like a well-worn term, but it's absolutely true that what do you do to become truly the builder of choice? So I tell builders to think of it this way. I don't care who it is. Think about your electrician, your plumber, your framer, your cleaning crew, and say they've got 7 crews and they got 10 places they need to be today, or they've been asked to be today. Where do you fall on that list? They got 10 builders that want them. Be totally honest, no tears. Are you number 1 or are you number 10? But if you're 3rd or 4th, that's not good enough either, because some days they can only get out to a few of them. What are you doing to be their first choice? And the answer isn't just to write them bigger checks. That's not a good answer. But you can do all sorts of things to help them be more profitable without writing bigger checks. And when you become the builder of choice, everything goes better. By the way, your schedule gets better, of course, your variances go down, and your quality goes up, and they will help you. They'll tell you what needs to be done, what's wrong. And you know what else they do? The good ones really train your people well. So much of the good training goes on from them. So the benefits forever, I think we've gotten a little blasé about it. And in these times, they're hurting. You think you're hurting, they're hurting too. They need a lot of support, a lot of communication, and continual care and feeding, upbringing of those suppliers and trades.
Thanks so much, Scott, for spending some time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Well, those 3 things, you know, the great thing about it is they pull a whole lot of other things with them.
Yeah.
Example is if you really get your variance down, it gets much easier for you to become builder of choice. If you run a great schedule, builder of choice becomes much easier. And they all work together. You become builder of choice, and oh, guess what? Your schedule gets better, your variance gets better. So if you do these things not to be a nice guy, although it's good. I like, you know, working with a builder that they're good people, nice people. But bottom line is, these are the builders that make the most profit and long-term in any market, whether it's a downturn like we had then, whether it's good times like we were having, or this deal right now. Is it U-shaped? Is it V-shaped to COVID? But whatever it is, if you take care of those 3 issues, you're going to not just survive, but thrive.
It's great advice. Thanks again. Really appreciate having you.
Thank you. Good to be with you.